Hey everyone, I hope we're all staying warm out there. It's bitter cold here. Uh, I'm waiting for spring now. And that's what brings us to today's video. Uh, this is a hybrid style jig in not the sense of material, but the type of jig. In the vise, we have a 1/16 ounce freestyle head, and it's got a 1/0 Trokar 570 sickle. And why I'm calling it a hybrid is uh, it's going to be like the small craft fur minnows that I tie, often called sissy jigs. Um, but we're doing this in a way that you could fish this like that, just simply um, cast and slow retrieve, or you could fish it as a float and fly. Um, and that's the deal. The reason it's like that is we have a 1/0 hook. Normally on a 16th ounce float and fly, I'm using a size 2 or a size 1. But being this hook is a little bit lighter, and with that sickle bend, it creates that lower profile of the smaller hook, and the lightness is it's like a size 1 in a heavier hook, but it's a little long for a float and fly. So we're getting the float and fly uh, profile with more the size of one of the small craft fur jigs, aka sissy jig. So enough of me blabbing on. We're going to get started here with a little bit of a super glue brush on. And just all you need is a little tiny touch of it, just enough to lock your thread. And we'll start our base. We're not going to go down real far. And yes, I'm now tying on my Griffin. I just like the Griffin jaws better than the Peak. Nothing against you Peak guys, but when I did the last swim jig, the saltwater jaws, I like the way the Peak holds the bigger, the larger wire hooks. So I'm going to end up using both of them. And for everything up to like a 3/0 medium wire, I'm going to use my mongoose. And for the really heavy stuff, 4, 5 real heavy hooks, I'm going to use the Peak. It's not hard to switch out. You just uh, turn the set screw, take one out, and put the other one in. Because the stems on the vices, I think that 3/8 inch is pretty universal. So that's why you see in the Griffin mongoose. So now we got our base tied on here. And now it's just simply a craft fur deal in our purple smoke pattern. So the first thing is this is gray craft fur. I cut it in advance to make sure I'm not spending too much time on a real long video and me blabbing most of the way. So I'm only wanting this little bit past maybe 3/4 of an inch or so. And we'll trim it off. And you know what? I found something else out too. And this is from talking uh, to a friend of mine from our local club. I ran into him in the store, and I was talking to him about our craft fur minnows because they're really good in the late winter, early spring, and they're also good for post-spawn fishing when you got a lot of fry in the water. And he was saying about not being able to cut craft fur too well. That's why he doesn't like it. And so I went, Barlow's got all this Dr. Slick tools in, which I really like. And I got these razor scissors. They're expensive, uh, but you want to use craft fur. Uh, those things like butter. I mean, I never had a scissors that sharp. You know, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still finding new things. So it is a lifelong hobby, that's for sure. Now, what we're going to do before I even add any more craft fur, I'm going to take this UV purple crystal flash, 2 full strands, and you'll see why. We're going to make them about the same length as our craft fur. Now, a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, that's totally up to you guys. I know a lot of guys like the flash when it comes out the back, and I do too, but not a lot. I tend to be a little easier on flash than some, but it works for me. It works in my waters because I'm trying to get the flash of a small minnow, you know, the forage size versus trying to make them find it, you know, really big flash. There's times where that really big flash comes in, and on the larger lures, it's good. But we see with the 2 full strands, we can really uh, load up this flash so we don't have to have it sticking too far out the back. You're going to get it underneath the craft fur. And I put it like that underneath for a reason. It's to sort of mute it, whereas you're bringing it through the water and you're getting glints of flash coming out from the middle of the jig versus, you know, all of it being at the end. And I know I skipped over this, but what we're using is white 140 denier flat wax nylon. And the reason I like using that smaller, uh, the smaller denier thread is like on crappie jigs and all, I could get a few more turns um, without it building up as much as the 210. And you could certainly use 210. There's nothing wrong with that. That's if you're going to save money and buy one thread, 210 denier is it. So we have our flash tied in. Now we're going to add some more craft fur. As you can already tell, I'm doing this in layers. I'm going to pull out some of these extra long ones and stack it. I'm just going to mark it. That's just amazing. I could square this craft fur off. I wish I would have got these arrow ones a long time ago. I have another pair of razor scissors, the micro tips, but I don't like them because they're uh, they're pretty much one dimensional. If you're doing all crappie jigs, that would be the ones I would get. But I went and I got these 3 3/4 and the 4-inch all-purpose, and they have been making my life easier because the longer I sit, the worse my back gets, and the scissors really shorten the time. Because I got to tie, I mean, the water's hard. What else am I going to do? And let's face it, this is fun, coming up with all kinds of neat stuff. Now, we got our craft fur tied in. This is purple saddle hackle. And you can use neck hackle if you could find thinner pieces. I like the saddle because it is a little bit, um, it is thin. You find yourself a really nice thin uh, feather. Now, normally on my float and fly jigs, I like tying mallard flank on the sides. But being this is more of a hybrid deal, uh, I prefer the saddle. And this purple saddle is really nice. And now some more gray craft fur. And the reason I'm adding extra is I don't like the feathers being, uh, how could I put it? I don't like them being exposed, uh, like that. I like having, uh, a little bit of material over top. I even do that with my preacher jigs. Instead of having the feather on the outside, I have it underneath a light amount of material. I don't put a real heavy amount on, just a real light covering uh, to sort of hide the feather, not totally hide it, but make it look like it's a tail rather than coming from the head. I'm sorry about my voice. I guess it's from this cold. That time of year, cold and flu season. So, yeah, I called it a Raptor minnow because of that hook. Uh, it is nasty, nasty sharp. I mean, ridiculous. I learned something there too that um, there is a varying degree of sharpness even in light wire hooks. Boy, I'm having a difficult time here with this last little bit. And now we'll finish off our collar. And yes, I have the collar on just like a really slight little taper, like I do my crappie jigs. You see how those jaws hold? I mean, that's me flexing. That hook isn't moving. It's me pulling down on it. You can bend this out real easy if you're, with the thing in the vise. You can um, pull it pull it out. That's how well they hold. Listen to me blabbing around. Oh my God. I don't shut up today. Too much coffee. A little bit of water-based head cement. And now I'll show you what we have. I'll get our little clamp here. That is our little 1/16 ounce freestyle head Raptor minnow. And what happens with this in the water, I know from like the sissy style jigs, uh, this really gets a minnow profile with the feathers, and the feathers do a little like an actual tail, and you can like I said, and you could sit this, get a little bit of fish dope, which is a scent, put it on the end there, make it look like a oh man, I'm sorry. What the fish dope does is it deadens the action of the craft fur. So you'll get the profile without the movement when it's really cold. But if you fish this around the end of the winter, beginning of spring, 45-degree water temperatures, um, killer. This should be really good. Anyway, give it a shot. Thanks for watching.